So to be more concrete, for example, at the early stage of the product life cycle, we can design and prototype rapidly. We can 3D print prototypes in the span of hours or even minutes in the future, and that changes how we test prototypes in the lab and how we interact with customers. We can then think about producing small quantities of products to test the viability of the design, the product's performance, or to be able to truly test a market, the viability of the product to consumers without having to make the investment in the fixed tooling and equipment that's traditionally needed to confidently launch a new product. With emerging industrial-grade 3D printing processes and their integration with automation, we can think of small volume production. For example, producing smaller quantities of products that are more tailored to specific markets, or simply market testing before we scale up a traditional factory to be more confident in our decision to bring something onto the marketplace. And as we go into the end of life and product service, the ability to produce replacement parts on demand transforms how you run end of life maintenance. Instead of having warehouses with fixed inventory at fixed locations, if you can send the digital file and produce parts on demand on location, you have become incredibly more flexible and more cost conservative in how you manage the full product life cycle. And in service and maintenance, if you can produce parts responsively on demand, close to the point of use, you can think about removing the need for large warehouses where you hold fixed inventory, and that can reduce the cost of inventory holding and enable you to service your customers' needs more quickly. And for your customers, time is money, and having the repair part more quickly is very important. So putting all those capabilities together, we can see that digitally driven manufacturing from single parts to large quantities of parts really affects the whole product design and manufacturing cycle. And we're really on the verge of the core technologies working together in enabling the factory of the future. And that can have big implications on business models. We can think about manufacturing in different locations or having factories that can produce a greater mix of products and be more responsive to customer demand. It also reduces the barrier to changing a design to increasing performance, because we're not as heavily invested in the fixed tooling that can make only one design in one product. So we can think of products evolving over time, physical changes in addition to digital changes, and those truly working together. So while these technologies are already having compelling implications and creating value in many industries, I think we're still at the very early stages, and it's our job to help chart the future while identifying what actions to take now. And the coincidence of our research and education at MIT is hoping to make impact in that way. So for the past 15 years, first as a student and then as a faculty member, I've been living at the intersection between advanced materials and manufacturing technologies. And I've realized the importance of innovations in manufacturing at driving our society forward. And I've also come to understand the constraints, the difficulty it takes to make something at scale. And when I looked at, for example, the status of 3D printing technologies, invented 20+ years ago, giving us unprecedented design flexibility, I realized that they hadn't yet made impact in manufacturing. I also felt that the market was not quite ready for these technologies to be adopted en masse. But the coincident evolution of advanced materials, automation and software, and all those components that lead to the factory of the future motivated me to do research in this area and to try to identify the fundamental technical challenges that when overcome could make big impact in industry. And I've worked to understand not only the fundamental technical challenges, but the needs of industry and the needs of consumers. How can improved manufacturing operations influence both producers and consumers in improving the way that we live? And the idea of flexible, on-demand production lets us think of producing what we need, where we need it, at the time that we need it. And that's a really compelling, I think, game-changing philosophy.